Alright everyone, it's time to talk about Sargon because he's undergoing a legal case, and he puts out yesterday a fundraiser, and he very quickly not only hit but far exceeded his goal. He was asking for 40,000 euros essentially in order to wage his legal case. He's being sued for copyright infringement. In my belief, it's a frivolous lawsuit, having, sort of looked at the case in general. I think it's in bad faith, and I think he probably ends up winning, but the thing is, in order to win a legal case, if you don't want to get bamboozled by, the opposition's lawyer, you have to have your own legal team of sorts. Some people were saying, well, Sargon makes thousands of dollars a month. Why can't he afford a lawyer? Do you understand how much lawyers cost? Yeah, been there, done that as far as the property that I'm living on and, relative who shall not be named when my grandfather was dying, actually. Yeah, but it can run quite a bit of money. Yeah, it can be expensive. And just think, Sargon, presumably for a, higher profile case than a very local property dispute, probably has a better lawyer, one that costs more, presumably. Sometimes maybe $250 an hour. No, literally for an hour, they send an email, they'll charge you $50. So, I don't think anyone should be begrudging him the right to raise money. But I will say this, I fully support Sargon, and I'll tell you why. Having looked at the basic fundamental structure of the claim that's being made, if he were to lose, in my mind at least, it would set a legal precedent that would basically gut fair use. That means for everybody on this platform, everyone on other platforms. The concept is, Sargon took material from another user for the purposes of satire and criticism. The problem is that at what threshold is it no longer fair use? What proportion of the content, how much of their content can you use in that context, number one? In what form can it be presented? How much of your own commentary or laugh track or whatever the hell you're adding to it has to be included? If you get it taken down by what you feel to be, and this is, I guess, what happened, a false copyright complaint, and then put it back up, number two then, for a second time, what's the ramifications of that? Is it YouTube isn't a court? YouTube doesn't get to decide in a legal framework what constitutes copyrighted. With the exception of it works digitally with copyright holders. This isn't one of those cases. It's not like a song. It's not like something that, a million albums sold. And then the other proportion is this. What about, is it frivolous and or excessive regardless of that first part? And this also matters. This is the other part. How do you determine the fiscal damages presumably resultant, assuming that you find that it was not fair use? Because this other user, who won't be named, obviously, YouTube's becoming a minefield where you can't even use people's names if you're criticizing them. The person he's being sued by is saying, well, I'm out, $100,000+ on this video. It was a popular video. Now, if you actually look at this person's audience size, there's no possible way that there's no way that they could possibly make that much on one video. That is definitely, in my mind, frivolous. The problem is if the court were to side with it and say, well, yes, potentially, as opposed to, yes, it caused, demonstrable damages in the amount of, $5 or something. But yes, this could have been, the hallmark of your career. Maybe you would have otherwise made all this money. That would be even worse, I think, than simply gutting fair use, because then people who still, are on the margins of that, like limited state mode for the judicial system, they could potentially get sued for large amounts. Looking at how much lawyers cost, I don't begrudge him that. Yes, his income's higher than mine, but the thing is, if I were to get nailed with a frivolous copyright lawsuit, why do you think I don't use third-party clips on any of my videos? It's not worth the fucking risk, because I know that people who delve into political analysis are targets. If he loses this case, Jared Holt tweeted out about this, because apparently, former head of Minecraft, Marcus himself, donated 10 grand to Sargon. Congrats to him, by the way, one of the good guys, generally speaking. Don't agree with him with everything, but he's a pretty cool dude. He's more involved with the little people than a lot of other fantastically, massively wealthy people. So it's a great sign. Got one person, of significant fame and gamer note that understands how fallen the culture is. And I was thinking to myself, Right Wing Watch has basically done the same thing that Sargon did on multiple occasions. They've taken stuff that, without any commentary, just a few graphics. They've remixed a bunch of clips from my own material, from Blonde and Tara McCarthy and Malnu, Sargon, and literally all of these others. So if Sargon loses his case, can Sargon turn around and sue Right Wing Watch for $500,000? Can he do that? Can I sue them for an inordinate sum because they used some of my material and they didn't provide any meaningful third party? At what point do we have to artificially determine its meaningful commentary? And then the other problem is this. It's in bad faith, and I'll tell you why. If you're taking material and you're applauding it, you're giving it kid glove treatment, and you're saying that that material is cool, it's like, look at this movie clip. Wow, what great graphics. That is going to be, I think, treated differently by the copyright holder, potential or legally speaking, than if you're being very critical of the material. Sargon was being critical of this user, but criticism is part of fair use. And it does matter. Again, it's like I'm never going to use a third-party clip, and I know better. But if I wanted to, I shouldn't have to maneuver a legal minefield in order to do that. I shouldn't have to feel like, hey, the fact that I use 2 seconds of this TV show is going to get me slammed under the legal bus, thrown in a jail cell into debtor's prison. A person shouldn't have to feel like that, especially since you got to understand this is the same legal and political and social system that usually regards YouTubers still as jokes. Well, if we're such jokes, then why are we seeing a 6-figure lawsuit of this guy? He has to raise 40,000 fucking euros just to provide a legal defense because the case will keep dragging on forever. And that's, probably by design. The idea is to drag it on and harass him, basically. That's the other part. At what point as a society are we going to determine that if you're filing an obviously frivolous suit and then trying to drag it out on appeal or whatever for the next 1,000 years, at what point does that become a form of criminal harassment? I would think that would matter. But yeah, people on the left, I see some of them, they're like, well, Sargon is like an MRA, which he's really not. Sargon is far right, which he's not. Sargon defends Nazis or something. Okay. Let's say you hate fucking Sargon. You should still support the fact that he should win this case. Because if he doesn't, your forms of criticism will no longer be under fair use potentially either. That means that you can turn around and somebody uploaded a PC or video. Oh, yeah, 6 figures for me and none for thee. You're going to be in a prison. You're going to give me your car. You're going to give me your home. You're going to have to sign over your firstborn children to pay off the debt because of frivolous lawsuits. It will turn YouTube into basically a jungle of apes throwing shit at one another by trying to weaponize the legal system. It's also going to clog up the courts if that happens. I really hope that Sargon wins, not for any political reasons. Look, if this were someone on the left getting nailed, like Malnu hauls off and decides to sue some Antifa member for using a clip of him or something, I'd be rooting for the Antifa member in that case. Because it'd be like, wait, well, what are the ramifications if this goes the other way? I would think the ramifications would be severe. I don't even think, as another YouTuber, the claimant within this case would potentially get fucked too down the road. Now, wouldn't that be funny in a karmic sense? I don't support that. I think fair use should be more expansive than it is now. Hell, some of this commercial content, I can remember the bad old days of YouTube. I can remember the DMCA dark age. We're talking like 2011, 2012. Terrible times. If you had even the most garbled 2 seconds of kind of sort of clip of a TV show playing in the background in another room, you could get your account taken down. If you had a 2-second clip of a song, if you were using the content for critical purposes, it wouldn't matter. YouTube didn't give you the ability to really appeal either unless you were a big-time user. Unless you were already popular on the platform, you were navigating a minefield. I don't think that we need to plunge the entire internet into that anytime soon. So yeah, I shared out his campaign. And he's raised, not only did he raise his goal, he raised twice as much. As of the last count, when I first got up and checked, he had raised about twice as much, 80,000 euros. That should keep his legal case going for the next year or so. So, the people that are opposing him are considerably less popular and don't have any friends, it seems. Okay, well, you're going to be at a loss, we can fund and support Sargon for a very long time. Not a problem. I was going to donate, but then I realized that my PayPal had been drained due to a tax season. My Patreon funds haven't come through. That usually happens on the 7th. Talk about funny timing, but, maybe I'll still do that. It'd be funny. That's about all. Peace out.